Hi guys! I want to show you this insert I've made for my Midori Traveller's notebook. It is a fairly simple insert, but there is one modification which I have made, which I will tell you about in a minute. Firstly, I'm just going to show you a signature bound notebook and why I've made the modification that I have. So, a signature bound notebook is essentially a collection of pieces of paper folded in the middle, bound, and then put together like a book. So it is however many sheets of paper. So say it's a 40-page notebook, there would be 20 sheets of paper. They are stacked flat and then they are folded in half so that they are together along the spine, and then they are bound through the middle, whether with stitching or with staples. Now, this is an effective and simple way of making a notebook. It is bound along here, and if you leave it as it is, it's a really strong, simple type of notebook. But if you ever want to remove a page for whatever reason, for example, if you want to rip out something that you've done because maybe it's only a temporary thing like a list, if you need to give somebody a piece of paper, or if you need to give somebody a piece of information that you've written down on a page, if you want to transfer a page from one notebook maybe into a binder, if you rip out one of these pages, the corresponding page is also liable to fall out, because all of these pieces of paper on this side correspond with pieces of paper on this side because they are made from the same piece of paper. So the first sheet corresponds with the last sheet of the notebook. The second sheet corresponds with the second to last. The third page, not sheet, the third page corresponds with the third to last page in the notebook. So for example, if you were to rip out the third page along the spine, the third to last page is liable to fall out. My notebook has a simple modification which stops this problem, and the modification is that it is perforated. This is a perforator tool. It is made by X-Cut and it is really simple. It folds away so that the blade is kept away from children and animals, but it has this blade here which isn't very sharp. As you can see, I'm running my finger over it, but it is made up of these tiny little notches, which is what puts these little cuts in the page where I have run the blade over, and this means that I can rip it. But it is a neat rip. It isn't a ragged rip, it is a neat tear. So that is really a brilliant way of being able to sever a page or a piece of paper from the remaining piece of paper. This notebook is effectively a DIY notebook. It is just a homemade, quite unprofessional notebook. I'm not very good at making these, but because I'm only making it for myself, and this is only going to be a temporary notebook, I'm going to put lists and notes on here that I want to transfer to my Filofax. I don't mind that it's a bit unprofessional. You can make your own one, and you can make it as highly professional or as quick and easy as you want. So basically, all you need is a stack of paper. If you have ever made a signature bound notebook before, you will know how to make one. It's really easy. A stack of paper, fold it in half so that the edges line up, fold along the spine, and in theory, if you were just to do that, you would then bind in the middle either with stitching or with staples. But before we do that, to make this notebook, don't bind it yet. You get your perforator. This one was really cheap from the internet. It was about £2.35. I don't know what other type of perforators there are out there, but if you already have one, brilliant. If not, then I recommend this one. I hope it's still available on the internet. Something simple like this, as long as the blade is effective, then that would be great. So before you bind it, take each individual page, and I haven't got a piece of paper here from the stack because I've already sewn it through the middle, but all you have to do is take your piece of paper, get your ruler, line it up and drag the blade over where the ruler is, and that means that you then are able to tear it, but obviously you don't want to tear it yet. You do that on every page. You do it to the left of the spine and the right of the spine on every page. When you have finished on every page, you then put the sheets back together like you would in a notebook, fold it in half, make sure they meet, and then you can sew it. Then you will have your notebook, and then you can put a cover on it or anything like that. You can put it straight in your Midori, and it is a really simple idea because all you need to do now is use it. If you just want to use it like a normal notebook but you want the flexibility of having pages you can tear out, brilliant. If you want to use it like a temporary notebook, for example just for shopping lists or anything else that you want to throw away in the end, that's brilliant. Or if you want to use it, like I will, for writing down the information that I want, the notes that I want, and then I will transfer these pieces of paper that I've written on into the relevant section in my Filofax. That's what I'm doing. But the beauty of doing it this way, with the perforations down here to the left and the right of the spine on each page, means that you won't get the problem that you will get when you try to tear out a page in a signature bound notebook, because obviously if you are to tear out this page along the spine, this page will fall out. If you are to tear out this page, like I show you here, sometimes the blade hasn't gone through neatly, so it is a bit difficult to tear. You do have to put a bit of pressure on with the blade when you are actually cutting. But here we go. This one's tearing out. I can tear out this page. It's not very neat at the bottom, but that's because I didn't put enough pressure on the blade when I ran it across. I have now got a piece of paper that I can do whatever I want with. But this one, this page that it corresponds with, will not fall out because it is still bound in. Because I have left about 5mm, about half a centimetre of paper that this was attached to, because I haven't done the perforations right up the middle, this corresponding page will still stay attached to the book. It will not fall out. Of course, if I want to tear this one out, I can do. And it is a much neater line than if you had ripped it out. Then I am left with this little piece of paper here, which I can then tear where the stitches go through, so that I have a neat notebook again. You can obviously start from one end, and or you can start from the middle like I just did, but if you tear off the first page, then the last page won't fall off. If you tear off the second page, then the second to last page won't fall off. And then there you have a really simple notebook that you can just throw into your Midori, use it as a temporary notebook, use it as a permanent notebook that just has the flexibility to tear out individual pages, or use it as a notebook where you can transfer things. So for example, if I were making one that was nice and professional looking, which mine isn't at the moment, I would use it as a normal notebook, like a list notebook or a journal or whatever you like, or a notes notebook, and just say, well, this page of my notebook I have written things on that I would like to give to my friend or put in a binder. So I'm going to rip this page out, but the corresponding page on the other side will still be attached, and that's the beauty of this. Or you don't have to perforate every page. You can, for example, just perforate the last 5 pages of the notebook, or the last 10 pages, like they do in some of those Moleskine cahiers where they just perforate the last few pages of the notebook. So there you go, that's a really simple thing, and I'm sure most of you have the equipment that you need at home to make a normal signature bound notebook, and the only extra thing you need is a perforator, and this one was really cheap from the internet. So if this works for you, then fantastic. Thank you very much for watching.